And we're back with more Shacknews awards. Uh, we just did NPC, and now we're gonna do best DLC uh of the year 2021. And considering those are your initials, David, do you want to kick
I
off?
was gonna kick things off by nominating myself, but no. I will nominate
Overruled.
overruled. I'll overrule myself. I will nominate Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise.
Yeah.
Bill, I'm going to let Bill carry most of this because he's played a lot more of that content than I have. But the what I love about it is, I mean, at its core, you go to an island to decorate vacation homes for people. You have a given theme, and you can actually, if you're not into this component of the game, you can do the same thing you did for the wedding event in June, where you can just, as long as you spam a bunch of furniture that matches the theme you're given, you're good. And then you can just unlock more stuff and keep going. But I actually really I get really into the interior decorating component of Animal Crossing, which is something I never thought I would be into, but here we are. And it also, like, gradually as you progress through the DLC, you unlock the items you use to decorate homes in the main games that you can buy them and put them in your home or on the island. And it's just a really cool, it's a good piece of standalone content, but it also builds a bridge to the main game, and I really
I
like it.
also heard, like, because this DLC is kind of weird in that it was looped into the expansion pack subscription service from
Yes.
Switch.
Yeah.
If you if you paid for it, downloaded the DLC, played the game, unlocked those things David's talking about, and then
Mhm.
stopped subscribing, you still get to keep those things. I think
Correct.
that's
You get to
kind
keep
of
the
That's
cool.
items, but obviously not access to the
Exactly.
island
I'm
where
talking
you
about
would
the
get them.
items that
yeah.
you unlock in the
Yeah.
main game.
You hold on to
Uh,
those, yeah.
you're able to hold on to those even if the subscription lapses. I think
Yeah.
that's cool of Nintendo to actually do that.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's one reason I decided to pay for the DLC. Like, I this is a separate thing. I don't really like what they're doing with the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. I don't think it's quite there yet in terms of value
Mhm.
proposition, but hey, I bought the DLC, so I'm good either way.
Yeah, and I mean, and in your case, you have the DLC forever,
Yeah, forever and ever.
whereas
Yeah.
I only have the DLC as long as I pay that subscription.
Right.
Uh, but the progress made in it is not evaporated, and I think
Correct.
it's different than.
It
Also, DLC
yeah.
as a subscription is weird as hell. Like
We're in a new territory. It's a weird thing,
like
but
Nintendo like looks over at Xbox's like homework and they're like, "Oh, subscription." And that's all that actually hit their frontal lobe, right? They just saw subscription.
yeah.
They ignored the part where games were part of it and like
Yeah.
good and value and yeah,
Yeah,
they forgot a
Just
lot of
to
that.
they did.
elaborate on the happy home stuff. So yeah, it is pretty deep. I'm going to speak directly to Asif on my selling points here, because there's a whole lot of new screens, and most of those screens can be customized for financial reporting or for stock trading, et cetera, et cetera. And they put an exchange. There's an exchange in there. So
Yeah.
they introduced a new currency called Pokey that you earn when you design vacation homes. And to David's point, I designed like two homes, and then I realized that I am a better shopper than I am decorator. So I would go to someone's vacation home, I would grab a bunch of shit, whip it into the room, and be like, "There's your vacation home. Enjoy setting it up the way you want." And I was able to blast through like a ridiculous amount of the content very quickly. Because the main thing that I'm there for in that game is to unlock stuff that I can use or unlock systems that I can do. But when I want to design a restaurant or something, or I want to design a hospital, you can do that, and then I can take those concepts back to my own house, and I can change things up with it, and I can even take those concepts to my villagers and remodel their homes on my own island. Um, but the exchange is the coolest thing for me because my one complaint about the DLC was I'm not earning enough pokey. There's things that cost 700,000 pokey, and you're earning like 15,000 to do a home. So I mean, you kind of do the math, and you're like, that's ridiculous. But then I got to a point where I unlocked a an ATM kind of machine, and it allows every day it comes with a new exchange rate where I can exchange bells to pokey. So in that way, Asif's actually the most powerful player in Animal Crossing because the minute that he actually gets that machine, he can just convert his 80 million, I think you still have. I don't know.
100+ million, I think.
No,
Yeah, but
I had 100 some million bells.
Oh, but
I
yeah,
have
okay.
now been giving my friends bells for almost a year now, or half a
Yeah.
year at least. I had some friends that got into the game just recently. Like they hadn't played it at all until this year, and then 2.0 came out and they got in. So I dropped over to their island, dropped like 4 million bells for them. I've
Yeah.
given my friend Adam's daughter like probably 12 million bells. Uh, so yeah, I'm under 100 million bells now. But
it what's cool about it is that you can grind through the content,
yeah,
but also it has a system in place to be like, okay, you know what? If you don't want to do that, then here, like you can actually avoid that grind through these systems. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could buy, like, you could take Pokey and exchange it at a good rate, and then wait until obviously the rates change and trade it back, and you could work the market that way if you wanted to.
I think
So
why this is good DLC and why this is this economy you're talking about is good is Animal Crossing is largely about collecting things and
Mhm.
building your ideal world.
Mhm.
So adding more things to that is always great. Adding customization to that is always great. And it did feel at launch like there wasn't enough stuff at times. So this is
I feel like
compared
I've
to
heard
New Leaf.
someone.
New Leaf, I
Yeah,
felt like
yeah.
I could never finish buying things in New Leaf.
Mhm.
It got to the point in the store, the general store, or whatever, Nook's Cranny or whatever the hell they call it. Um, it got to the point where I was seeing like, oh, there's that grand piano again, or there's that TV again, or there's that microwave again. And I
Yeah.
think this update came at a good time. And like I said, it's revitalized the game. A lot of people came back to it, and maybe like not necessarily came back to it, but are playing it more than they were before.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's super good
I
nomination.
think they added something like 9,000 items.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like a huge, huge deal for the Animal Crossing community. Like that's a lot of stuff to want to go after.
Yeah.
And I think that's hugely important for that ecosystem. I want to mention that Ozzy nominated Life is Strange True Colors Wavelengths as the
Which
best DLC.
in that DLC, funny enough, you play as Steph Gingrich. She's the main character in that DLC.
Oh,
There
Yeah.
you go.
So that ties into our last one we were talking about.
Yeah, we were just talking about best NPCs, and yeah,
I could
I just
tell
wanted
there's
to get
only a
Ozzy's.
handful of people that have played the Kingdom Hearts games on this call today because no one's mentioning Sora for Smash.
She's
I
wait,
think-
Sora's not.
Is it DLC? Because he can buy him
He's
by
DLC.
himself.
Okay, fine, fine,
He's
Okay.
DLC.
fine. I'm just. It's a fighter. It's one fighter.
It's true.
9,000 items in Animal Crossing. One fighter. You couldn't even get me Donald Duck. Couldn't even get me Goofy. You
Oh
just
yeah,
got me
Disney was
Sora.
like, no, we don't want them in a violent video game.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you get the
but-
music and you get the stage
no.
too.
Yeah, okay, fine. Look, I'm not saying no to Sora. I'm just saying no to Sora.
That's not our nomination. I bought him. He's good. He's cool.
I have not bought Sora yet. I know Greg was day one. Is
Yeah.
Sora your main?
No, he's really floaty and like his.
Thank you. That's
his-
why I'm not. Like, if Sora was like the ultimate character, I would be on board with this. But Sora is not my jam.
Yeah, his
I don't
also
like
his
the
hit
music.
priority is really low. Like for someone who has a blade weapon, like a lot of stuff doesn't go through and gets knocked out by like melee fighters' neutral air, which is really rough. But that's good. You don't want a character to be like completely overpowered the second he comes out because then
If
you
you
just see a
were
bunch of
going to
Bayonettas.
do that, you go full Bayonetta with the last DLC
I was
character,
gonna say,
and
like,
you
that
ruin
sounds
your
like
game with
Bayonetta.
Sora.
Let me
Yeah.
remind you all that there will be no more fighter balancing in the game. So
That's what I'm
What
saying.
you get is what you get at this point.
And that's good. I think
Yeah.
he's in a good place. I've seen him competitively. He struggles, but that's good. I don't want him to be completely top tier because he's broken. You know.
But that's your main?
No, my main's Bowser.
Okay. And,
That's
okay,
just good.
okay,
That was
fair
my
enough.
main too. Actually,
I don't know, Greg. If Sora was a better character, like actually better fighter in the game, I would feel more compelled to vote for that.
I know. I just got to give him a shout out. It's like I
That's-
said, it's a huge
that's
accomplishment
why
to get him
That's
in a
why
game.
I meant your nomination with skepticism. It had
Mhm.
nothing to do with Sora being valid DLC. It was more that I just don't like Sora in the game. It's not my kind of player. They should have just buffed Kirby. I would have paid $5.
They buffed DK.
The last patch acknowledged Donkey Kong more than any patch before it on his 40th birthday. TJ, do you have a nomination for this?
Well, I figured like Blake, you get this is where Iki Island gets its chance. To
Yeah.
shine, right?
Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island is definitely something I was going to nominate. Come on.
Mhm.
I mean, come on. It's freaking okay. Original game, freaking gorgeous, and then like here's a whole new island to explore. Not as big, but probably just a little smaller than the first area of the core game.
Mhm.
But plenty of stuff to do. A few new mechanics thrown in, and somehow they made it even more gorgeous than it already was. Like in the core game, everything's kind of color coded. Like you have areas with like yellow flowers, areas with purple flowers. Here, everything's kind of thrown together. So like the color tapestry that hits you at once is much more dynamic, and like there's a bunch of like just new and freshness to it. There's new animals to befriend. You can now find pet, like you can go pet cats and deer and like play these little mini games to befriend them, and they'll give you new charms. It's not just follow this fox to point B. It's more engaging. It's its own complete story too. There's a whole new plot. It's total. I mentioned earlier, like it's kind of trippy, psychedelic, fear-inducing stuff. It's almost like you're fighting like the Scarecrow.
Mhm.
I guess would be a good analogy for it. Yeah, and that's Ghost of Tsushima. It's so good. This game is so damn good, and I feel like it didn't get a fair shake last year, and I feel like it's like a lot of people slept on it this year too. And it totally deserves some credit for how excellent it is. And if this is its only opportunity, I'm gonna fight for it like Samurai would to the death.
I also like the extreme tonal shift between the island of Tsushima and the Iki Island. The island of Tsushima, there's Mongolians running around, barbarians everywhere, but the core the natives of the island still believe in honor. They still believe in the way of the samurai. Iki Island is an island of bandits and cutthroats and throwaways from the rest of civilization. And like they are like that tonal shift of like you go from a place where the people still believe in honor to this place where everybody is watching their back because everybody is a cutthroat, everybody is a highwayman, everybody is a bandit, is like a really interesting story.
Yeah, but at the same time, just to piggyback off of that, it also is very, very sticks to the core of the original game, which is the sins of the father stuff. Like, there's a reason Iki Island is the way it is, and your clan is tied into it. And that unravels as you play the game as well,
For
so
sure.
so the way that it's an interesting way to keep it so that you're perceived, you're not a people's hero here, you're not like a vigilante, you're somebody that if they knew what your name was, you would be despised.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good nomination, Blake, and it's perfectly fitting for this game and this category. Like that, I think the addition of a new island to that game is like a very marked DLC. Like you'd be like, this is it, where like describing Animal Crossing's DLC required a lot of effort because it was like there's this new mode, but then there's this marketplace thing, and then there's this currency thing. Like both are good nominations. They're just very different and good example of how DLC can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, I would also just note they've updated the multiplayer for Ghost of Tsushima as well, but I do not really play as much of the multiplayer as I do single player. So it should be noted it wasn't just the story DLC. Like,
and you can play the DLC in multiplayer?
No, I don't think you can.
Oh, okay.
But there is multiplayer DLC, like the multiplayer mode.
Got it.
It's Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is like it presents
you
with different scenarios. Well, I mean, it's you have to have Ghost of Tsushima to play it.
Okay.
But it's different scenarios set within that environment.
Okay, that's cool. Do we have any other nominees?
I think we should mention, so we don't forget, The Outer Worlds Murder on Eridanos was a DLC that came
Ooh,
out
yeah.
this year, and it was hours and hours long, and it just added more awesomeness to an already incredible game.
Did Doom Eternal get a DLC this year?
I don't.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, War Gods 2.
War Gods 2, right?
Did both parts come out this year, Chris, or was War Gods 1
Yes.
last year? Yes, both years. Okay.
So
Both
War
parts came out.
Gods, Doom. I thought that was the case.
They were interesting. I can speak a little bit to that. War Gods 2 was I might be confusing them. One of them was like Doom Eternal super hard mode. It was like if you loved the combat puzzles of Doom Eternal, this is that cranked to 12. And it was good, but that wasn't really my thing, so that's why I didn't talk much about it.
It's Ancient Gods.
Ancient Gods. I keep thinking War Gods, but
Yeah, Ancient Gods.
Ancient Gods.
I want to say Ancient Gods Part 1 was the hard mode.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Oh yeah, and then Ancient Gods Part 2 kind of has a pretty cool story twist at the end and stuff. But
yeah, I know that game didn't really, burn up the charts last year on our Game of the Year list, but it is a very competent FPS, and they have supported it.
It's great. It just feels like it feels like a very love or hate thing. Like, and I feel like I don't even hate it. I acknowledge it is a great game, but it's just not at all the type of game, let alone Doom game I want to play, basically.
I just felt like it needed to be mentioned in this
for
list.
Sure. I would agree.
Like, it's cool that they're supporting that game with DLC. They didn't do that really with 2016 because I think they immediately went to work on Eternal. But it's cool to see that they're supporting Eternal with new content like this late after the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good place to call a vote here. Chris, you want to start this?
Sure. I'll go with the Ghost of Tsushima DLC, The Island.
Blake, you're on board with the Ghost of Tsushima Iki Island?
Hell yeah.
I'm guessing, Bill, you're on Animal Crossing?
Happy Home Paradise.
Okay. TJ?
Iki Island.
Hey.
Greg? Sora?
Hey.
Yeah, Sora. That's an achievement. Should not be overlooked.
I mean, yeah, it's just getting a Disney character in Smash is a big deal. I didn't even buy him yet. Donovan?
I'll go with the Happy Home Paradise.
Danny?
I actually had a nomination I thought about, but I realized none of you have probably played it. And that is Street Fighter V Season 5. It's actually a pretty awesome DLC. It brought back some of my favorite characters, fan favorite characters, rival schools characters like Akira. It also gets some credit because they have a new team that's taken over the last 2 seasons of the game. And they've completely pivoted when it comes to making it more creative playstyle wise. Seasons before that have been extremely boring character development. But in this one, they really try some different things about each character they brought out. So there were 5 characters in total throughout that season from, like, I want to say February, which started with Dan, up until last week with Luke. And they put in a lot of work. And each character both feels unique and is viable competitively. So we're giving them just a little bit of love because considering where this game started to where it's ending now, this past season's been pretty solid in comparison to previous years. So that's the one I would choose. But I'm gonna give Animal Crossing a bone here since I didn't in the expansion category last time. So.
Right in my heart.
Wow. Okay, so no Street. You know what happened with Street Fighter, Danny? That was a February release, and I think people just forgot. But you're right. I'm sorry. The season started in February.
Yeah, it was a lot going on.
Yeah, it's been all year. I agree though. That game now compared to launch, night and day.
One of the funniest parts of the year was when Dan broke the game by having an infinite, and that was like Dan Hibiki, the joke character of
Dan
Street
broke it
Fighter
as
V,
well.
is
Yeah.
top tier with a touch of death combo. You gotta be kidding me.
That was the most ridiculous thing. I agree. I completely forgot that was this year. This year has been like 8 years. David, are you sticking with Animal Crossing?
All the way. Yeah.
So Ozzy voted for Life is Strange. Sam voted for Animal Crossing. My vote doesn't matter. So just because I don't want Blake to feel bad, I'm going to vote for Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, thank you, Austin. I still feel bad that I did not get a W for that
You
game
still
at
lost,
all.
but at least
Like
I
in
wasn't.
2 years, I've
Yeah.
been second year in a row. I'm fighting for this game.
Man, I
Sucker Punch-
nominated it last year for art direction. I was
Yeah,
with you.
we
Yeah.
had a very heated debate about art style between Hades and Ghost of Tsushima, and Hades came out on top. But just now, I thought we had a solid debate about 2 really excellent DLCs here, and maybe Greg could have swayed things if he didn't dig his
Oh
heels
no,
in on
I'm
Sora,
not gonna
you know?
do that at Animal Crossing. Also, will lose his shit if it lost this section too.
I didn't vote for Animal Crossing, Greg.
Because your vote didn't
Man,
matter.
I mean,
I didn't
shoot,
vote for Animal Crossing, Greg.
pigeon milk. You all got pigeon milk,
You know,
and you said
If your
that.
takeaway is
greatest
pigeon
thing.
milk, you don't understand that game.
Fair enough. I have never.
I'd
Blake,
also like to point
you
out that
get a
Pigeon
different
Milk was
colored
part of the
toilet
update,
now.
not
It's
the
really
DLC.
exciting.
Hey, thank you. And Pigeon Milk was free to play, not paid
Yeah,
DLC.
that's not part of the
So
DLC.
you're overruled in your pigeon milk hatred.
Free to pigeon milk. Is that what it stands for?
Blake, can I throw you a bone with something? And I'm not changing a vote.
I know.
Your passion for Ghost of Tsushima has me decided, like, eagerly awaiting its arrival on PC. Eagerly awaiting, because that's where I want to play it, and I know I'm gonna love it, and that's because of your passion, man.
Has Sucker Punch ported any games to PC yet?
not yet.
It's got to
Like,
be.
we don't
it
have
was
like
announced, though,
Infamous or
wasn't it?
Second Son or any of that stuff on PC.
I
Seems
hope
like we
it
would
was
get some
announced.
of that. If Sony really wants to just crack the IP war chest open and dump stuff on the table, give us some Infamous on PC.
I would love remastered Infamous 1 and 2.
Right?
That'd be great. Yeah.
Right?
That'd be great.
Like and this is me saying I love Sucker Punch games. And I feel bad that they don't win enough here at the Shacknews Awards, but Animal Crossing New Horizons Happy Home Designer is like a massive DLC. It improves the game. It's not required to enjoy the 2.0 update, but it is very nice. And yeah, Nintendo's really supporting the hell out of that game right now. So congratulations, Nintendo. You're probably going to throw this award in the trash, but you won Best DLC of 2021 at Shacknews.
What am I going to do with the award? Nothing. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's the least of my concerns right now.